fans. We back at it with another edition here at Round One Sports TV. I'm always your host, Edwin, where the world fights start. Round one. So, I'm just doing a little fixing up here. So I'm not going live on the studio. I'm just doing it on my phone. Just checking in with you guys, seeing what you guys are talking about. There's a lot of things transpiring in the sport of boxing right now. I saw Mauricio Suleiman on Boxing Voice, and he had a lot to say and a lot not to say. He said a lot without saying shit, basically, right? And you can see Mauricio Suleiman's side on what belt has the most power in all of boxing, right? And you can see it's the WBC. And Mauricio, he's kind of like on the line. He's going to do whatever the hell he wants to do, right? Because he didn't even acknowledge the order of how things are done in boxing, meaning there's an order to belts. Mauricio basically said, well, that's a gray area, meaning if he can bully his way through and cut in front of a line, then he will. He's basically telling the other sanctioning bodies right then and there, not even he follows the rule structure the way it's supposed to go. Meaning the way you obtain the belt, your obligation to the mandatories. Mauricio feels like, you know, if he's the WBC president, he should be able to mandate or order any fight at any time. And because they're the strongest organization, he feels like he should be leading the way. So much, in fact, that you seen the stunt that Mauricio pulled on those unification fights, where he made like an undisputed belt, and he put all the organizations on the belt. He put the IBF, the WBO, WBA. Notice how the WBC had the bigger name, and the plate in the belt was designed from the WBC. Kind of like they were leading the way. Mauricio, shot down all the rumors on that belt, whether people were saying, is that going to be like a new undisputed belt? Can you lose that belt? Can you defend it? He acknowledged that that was just to commemorate the moment, the night. That's all he did it for. That's all he did it for. So the unified belt that they made for the Demetrius Bivol fight and the unified belt that they made for the Tyson Fury fight, those are just for those individual moments, and those belts won't. It's just kind of like a trophy to honor that night. That's it. So those belts that were all put together on that one belt were for that one occasion, if you were thinking anything. What's up, Frontline? How you doing? What's up, baby? What's up, Armando? How you doing? Chacho, you guys don't hear from me for one day. Y tan perdido without Round One Sports Talk, huh? Man, they put out an APB on me, man. They was like, yo, where's Ed at? I didn't go on this one Monday. Like I always announce it. Mondays I don't go. I missed the Monday. The Round One of Sports world goes up in an uproar. Where's my man at? We got to know. You know what I mean? Yo, man. But we got some big fights coming up around the corner, and I want to keep talking about the Mauricio Suleiman situation. But Jaron Boots Ennis and Stan Leonis, that's gonna be a big match that I'm gonna see. I'm a little upset about the Navarrete situation. Who the hell is this guy Navarrete fighting, and why are they doing this to him? Why are they allowing Navarrete to fight this guy when there's a vacant IBF championship, like, available? And I understand the rules, but you guys have been breaking the rules all these years. Now you want to be like, oh, we're going to follow the rules? Navarrete's defended that belt, what, like 3 times? This is the type of fight you get on your first title defense. Why isn't he unifying? Why isn't he fighting other top dudes? Why are they doing this to Navarrete? Like, Navarrete needs to, look, I'll talk about that later, but as well as, addressing some of the comments, Suleiman, man, That dude is something else, bro. He even was getting offended a little bit, and the boxing voice had to like back up a little, laugh a little with him, kill the, because Suleiman feels like, oh no, you're just pushing, and he wasn't. The boxing voice wasn't. The boxing voice asked him a straight up question. He just couldn't answer it. Suleiman. And he was like, no, if you rewind the tape, you're going to see that was your opinion. And I was like, rewind the tape, brother. You just said it 10 seconds ago. I remember what you said. So I saw that, he had to like dial it back a little bit, the boxing voice and shit, just to keep him on. Couple fans came there, showed their appreciation to Suleiman because the WBC is a staple in boxing. He also explained that when it comes to sanctioning these fights and the fighters getting the fights put together, Suleiman says, and he wants to remind the world, yo, listen, that's not my job. That goes to the promoter, the business part of boxing. I don't pay for the venue. I don't pay for what's up, Jose? I don't pay for none of the business part. All I make sure is that when you guys are fighting for our belt, that everything is regulated. That you got all your ducks in a row in order for you to compete for our belt. And we got to make sure the WBC, the WBC, Mauricio, they asked him, what do you think about Turkey? What do you think about Turkey's situation, him coming into the game? Suleiman was like, listen, I don't know what you guys heard. You guys took an interview or something I said 2 years ago and try to put it with now. He said, but let me tell you something. I've worked with every entity that's ever come into boxing and try to promote boxing. Because Suleiman knows one thing like most of us know. These belts ain't going nowhere. All right? They powerful. Real powerful. And Suleiman and all the major sanctioning bodies accept all challenges. You want to bring a belt to our sport? Come on. You're just going to dump money into our sport and walk away like everybody else, and the belts are going to remain. Suleiman was like, listen, I participate in the World Series of Boxing, the six, what's the word I'm looking for? How many of, tournaments that the WBC has supported. The WBC has been everywhere. They're in the Super 6 series, everything. The WBC, and Suleiman is right. He's right when he says that. Because Suleiman capitalizes on everything. Bro, they make a belt for no reason. They talked about that franchise belt, and I told y'all about that franchise belt. Where is it? Even Suleiman said it. Oh, we discontinued it. Well, we stopped it for now, he said. We stopped it for now because, it's a real complicated belt. And a lot of people, they don't know about it. Yeah, like smart people. Like smart people that know that belt is some dumb shit. Franchise belt. Fuck out of here. What's up, Jack? Boxing is more dangerous than MMA. What good is our sport if a dude in a wheelchair can do it? Like boxing? That would be a real strong wheelchair boxing dude, right? Because MMA evolves in more skills. You have to have more discipline and multiple arts. Congratulations. Congratulations. But boxing, 100% is far more dangerous, and your life expectancy and the price you pay after the sport far more exceeds any UFC career. For instance, in a UFC career, what good is it if you learn 4 fucking trades and all you have to do is grab ass and wrestle a dude on the ground and just hold them? What happened to all that training? You trained all that time to grab ass some guy and wrestle him down to the ground and hold him there? You guys have done absolutely no damage. The average damage sustained in a UFC fight, a good elbow, Good knee strike. Shit, I saw who was there? Chris Cyborg's husband get his skull caved in. But you know what I've never seen in the UFC? Someone die in the ring. Shit, that happens every year in boxing. For 36 minutes, you're getting punched in your face. That'll never happen in the UFC. Meaning, after UFC, you'll probably live a normal life, few face scars, a little cauliflower ear. But all right, look at the boxers of today. Look at Julio Cesar Chavez. Look at Oscar De La Hoya. Shit, look at Mayweather. Look at the prices that they pay in their speech. They hardly remember anything. For 36 minutes, you're in the ring getting punched in your face. In the UFC, if you take 4, 5, 6 jabs in a round, that's a lot. One right hand, 2 right hands, maybe 6, 7 per round, right? A kick here and there, a knee. Very, very high skill shit. Very dangerous, yes. And you can hurt somebody very fast. You'll hurt your opponent in UFC probably a lot faster than boxing, but a knockout can come out of nowhere. But as far as dangerous, you see, you got to have more skill in the UFC. You got to be well versed in multiple arts. Yes, you do. But dangerous-wise? Dangerous? Nah, men die early after a year or a lifetime of boxing. My man George Foreman just passed away. Did you see Ali? Compare Muhammad Ali to one of UFC's all-time great, George St. Pierre. What does George St. Pierre look like right now or talk like? Like a normal person. Very little damage. Very little damage. What about all the other greats? John Jones. What about Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson? Perfect. Those guys get into what you consider the most dangerous sport in the world and walk out like a Boy Scout. How is that the most dangerous sport in the world? When our champions are walking out at 50 years old, they're not even remembering their own name. That's how dangerous boxing is. That's how dangerous boxing is. You look at listen, you can grab the first UFC fighter that kicked off the first card. What about homeboy? Griffin, that kicked off the whole fucking UFC on that one fight card that Dana White got the contract. What's he talk like? What did he look like? They look great, don't they? They look like they didn't even have a career. Like they didn't even fight in the UFC. These guys are awesome. My guys, they're fucking brain dead. They can't even hold conversations. They're like this from taking so much damage in the ring. But the UFC somehow is what? And then every UFC fighter that comes into boxing gets knocked out. Gets wiped out. What UFC fighter, even the greatest, McGregor, ever could stand their ground with a boxer? We're not talking about street fighting here, because if we were talking about street fighting, fuck it. Then if you want a street fight with me, come with that bullshit. I'll just take out my gun and shoot you. That's it. I'm not going to roll around in the ground with you. That's it. You want a street fight? We can street fight. You want to do a regulation? I'll take you in the ring and I'll knock you out. Fine. Have it your way. But I'm just saying, a UFC fighter could beat up a boxer on the street? Probably so. Can a boxer beat up a UFC fighter? Probably so. It depends what man connects first. Because I think Francis Ngannou's a tough dude. And when Francis Ngannou told Tyson Fury in the front stage, bro, you're lucky that we were in a ring with sanctioned regulated gloves, or I would fuck you up. I kind of on the line that he would, but he's not going to fuck up Usyk. I don't believe that. And not every boxer is just a one-dimensional boxer. That would be really foolish to think. That would be like thinking every boxer in the boxing or every UFC fighter doesn't know how to box. That's bullshit. Max Holloway, people like that, they're great boxers, right? And don't think that every boxer doesn't know how to do UFC. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if you were to make the mistake and run up on Terrence Crawford, that would be the last mistake you make. Because if you didn't know this, Terrence Crawford is a wrestling champion. In high school, he's he's an athlete. Terrence Crawford knows how to wrestle. He knows how to bring you down and choke you out. He's did it at the high levels. So for any UFC, say Sean O'Malley was to walk upon Terrence Crawford, that's Sean O'Malley's ass right there. He's done. He's finito. Sean O'Malley don't got enough pop to keep him off him, and he don't got enough style to understand what Terrence Crawford doing. He's probably gonna knock him out. And if Sean O'Malley shoots, guess what? Terrence Crawford knows what to do. In a street fight, he'd be dumb. But I'm just saying, both sports, I respect both sports. I respect the UFC. There's a lot to go into it. It's a lot of talent you would have. That's a lot. You gotta know fucking Roman grappling, wrestling. You would have to know some jujitsu. You would have to have a striking coach at least. If you could have those three those right there, then I mean, if you want to implement kickboxing or Muay Thai to your arsenal, I guess that would be your opinion, or what kind of like you fighting. But basically, what you're gonna need to you be a UFC fighter. You can't be a UFC fighter in today's era if you don't have wrestling. You're gonna need wrestling nowadays in your arsenal in the UFC. You're gonna need a little bit of jujitsu. You're gonna have to know how to finish. You're gonna have to know how to transition from position to position to try to get like an arm bar, a Kimura, you know what I'm saying? Like, and you're gonna have to know that. You're going to have to know that because there's gonna be key moments, and then you're gonna need a striking coach. You're gonna have to know how to strike. Most UFC fighters, like I would say, a good 85% of UFC fighters don't know how to box. They know how to strike. They just don't know how to box. Striking and boxing are two different things. Striking is, you sit in there, pop, boom, boom. Boxing is more technical. Boxing, he's more or less 2 steps ahead of you. You're going to throw a punch. He wants you to throw that punch. You're going to lean forward. He's going to smack your hand down and he's going to knock you out. Boxers are too good at striking. That's why fighters like John Jones won't fight a boxer. He's publicly came out and said it. You know what I'm saying? Like, when he went and trained with like Shakur Stevenson, like real boxers, John Jones is in a video saying, I'm not messing with you because I don't want to be embarrassed. Because John knows the difference. He's a real warrior, a real fighter, John Jones. Although John Jones will probably fuck up Shakur Stevenson, just not in boxing though. He's going to get outstriked. He's going to get frustrated. He's going to want to rip off the gloves and be like, yo, and try to kick him in the head or something, or knee him. There's not that many good boxers in the UFC. Calvin Kattar from Massachusetts, he's a pretty good boxer, decent. And Max Holloway pieced him up. Poirier can box. Max Holloway can box a little. There's only a couple that can like really strike. Like, if they can't kick or shoot, they're lost. They're lost. UFC fighters can't fight on their feet like that. They really can't. And what makes them so good is that the other guy can't box neither or fight. They're just striking. So when the competition they fight, it looks good. It looks good. But if you was to put in a professional boxer with those UFC gloves, and you was to mandate and say, okay, you can't grapple or kick him, but we're going to fight with the 4-ounce gloves. Just fight, just box, stand up and box, right? Then no UFC fighter would win. It kind of wouldn't be fair. There's not a UFC fighter that can fight like that. Nah, not even Mighty Mouse. He can't box with the greatest boxers. He could probably box with like low level dudes, Demetrius Mighty Mouse is probably the best UFC fighter I've ever seen in my life. He's my favorite fighter. But if I was being honest, he don't got like a stand up like that. He'll get knocked out in boxing, yeah. But in the UFC, he'll knock out the boxer. Yeah. Demetrius is too strong. A boxer can't beat Demetrius in his world. Never, it'll never happen. It'll never happen. Demetrius is too smart. He's too smart. He'll beat the boxer in the MMA. Yeah, he will. The boxer will be lost. He don't know what to do when he's off his feet. Once you scoop the boxer, he's done. He's not gonna be able to get up. Not unless you got like experience like Terrence Crawford. Like you would have to know about wrestling. See, Terrence Crawford, I follow his career. I knew he wrestled in school. I knew Terrence Crawford was a wrestler for a long time. They got pictures with him, with the things, everything. So he was a multiple, athlete. So oh shit, you guys banned mad like messages from the dude Jack J. I guess he gets offended or something. My man, he got blocked. He probably got kicked. Yo, my man's crazy. Can't have a conversation like a normal conversation about fighting and boxing and stuff without getting crazy. I imagine what he typed. You got those UFC guys, they can't take constructive criticism. They just like, no, the UFC, blah, 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 blah. Like, bro, calm down. And what you're probably thinking is correct about the angle that you're coming at. Yeah, it would probably be, but if you were listening, you would have heard my angle and would have noticed that I am also correct. It's just that the UFC is, you know, opinionated what you consider a great warrior, right? Some men would say, unless you're using all your limbs of everything that, legs, body movement, then you're not using your full capabilities as a warrior. Then other men would say, bro, I don't want to grab ass. Let's just stand on our feet like two men and slug it out. See who's standing. Like men. Mano a mano, you and me. Don't kick me. Don't knee me like a bitch. Don't fucking try to grab me and wrestle me down and choke me out or try to snap my arm back. None of that. Just you and me, mano a mano. Throw punches until one of us go down. And there can be no greater honor. No greater honor. So there are boxers in the world and men that view UFC fighters as pansies. Like, you gotta kick me, really? You gotta throw an elbow. You really gotta grab me and wrestle me down. Like, you can't fight on your feet? You don't know how to fight on your feet like a man? Two hands? Yeah, them UFC dudes is girls. You know what I'm saying? And there's UFC fighters that think, well, I'm not the greatest boxer in the world, but I'll whoop your ass. I got other skills, and I'll wrestle you down and snap your arm and choke you out and give you elbows and make it look more aggressive or violent in nature. I don't know how people can look at UFC and say because you're not used to somebody throwing a kick or seeing somebody knee or elbow, but a knockout's a knockout, really, no matter which way it comes. Whether you kick me in the face or I punch you in the face and knock you out, still same thing, right? Knockout, right? So, yeah, it's just, that's an argument, right? That's really kind of pointless. Both sports are warriors. There's a lot of warriors in the UFC. There's a lot of warriors in boxing. To sit there and say, oh, a guy in a wheelchair can do your sport. Okay, then a guy in the morgue can do yours. He's just dead on the flatbed. I just throw the body in the ring. Anybody can do UFC. At least Geiger is alive in a wheelchair. You mean a dead person can do UFC? That's gotta be easy then. You know, so you lucky frontline. Edwin don't read Spanish. What you mean I'm lucky? I'm about to take a bilingual class right now. Naoya undercard. What? Rocha Polanco versus. The hell you talking about? Yo, man, listen, bro. I don't know, man. I don't know. But I know it's hard to turn down a world title and that much money. I'm just gonna leave it like that. Bam. Um, oh, what's that say? Stop. Thank you, brother. Thank you. Thank you for following me. Yo, Oshashi Foster, man, that's just another situation of my frustration with Navarrete, fighters like Navarrete, Oshashi Foster. I Why they ain't fighting, bro? Like why isn't like they're not putting together some of these fights? I mean, I don't like this fight with Navarrete. I don't look, and then the Puerto Rican fighter, right? They know he has inactivity. They know he's been away from the sport. They're gonna dangle a fucking belt in his face with a bag full of money. Of course you're gonna take it. You're gonna take the fight. I don't like it. I think that look, I'm gonna have to make a video tonight on that. And I'm gonna dive deep into it. And cause I'm probably gonna go on tonight. And because I did have something lined up for that. My chat family on WhatsApp chat, they were talking about it with Camachito and shit. So I was gonna address that in tonight's show. I wanted to get on today and shit, and but I'm gonna answer all your questions. It don't matter. I'm gonna answer, but that's one of the ones I wanted to talk about tonight. So I'm gonna save that one for tonight with Oshashi Foster. But also, I just wanted to share like the balls on Mauricio Suleiman, man, the WBC, the way he he addressed everything. He talks like he's running the show. Like if he speaks for all the organizations. Yo, he was like, where's your place in line with David the Monster Benavidez, and whether or not you guys are gonna strip him or just allow him to fight the trilogy with Arthur. So the boxing voice was telling him, don't, that's bullshit if y'all strip him, right? And Mauricio Suleiman is telling him, brother, I'm just influencing the rules. I don't organize fights. I just do what my fighters in my ranking system are requesting us to do. And the power that we have over boxing is that you guys want to fight for our boxing belt. You see, in the WBC, unlike the IBF, they have a 32 board member. They elect who they feel deem worthy to fight for their belt. Sometimes it's not the number one guy, but and it might be a guy less deserving, but more popular. See what I'm saying? Like Rolly, for instance. I don't think that Rolly should be fighting on a headlining a card, coming off of a loss, losing his belt, automatically moving up to a new weight division and being given shot an opportunity at an amateur world title in his first crack in the division. Now there's favoritism right there. There's the corruption in boxing right there, full display. How does Ryan Garcia come off a suspension and be the #1 guy? How's it? What the fuck is going on? But isn't Stanionis the champion for the WBA? And isn't Jerron Boots Ennis and him about to fight for unification? How does Rowley and Ryan be the #1 and 2? Coming off fresh off a suspension. Nobody wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to expose the corruptions and these power moves that these businessmen are making. Here at Round One Sports Talk, I'm always going to educate you to boxing, but always keep it in mind. The key essential of boxing. Boxing is a business disguised as a sport. Their first main objective is to make money. Their second is to make the fights. What fight makes the most money? And then make the fight. It's sometimes not who is more worthy. There's other organizations in boxings that are trying to keep by those standards. The IBF, the WBO. Those are kind of belts that are enforcing rules, trying to keep boxing prestigious. And all these other mofos in boxing, they always want to know where they can get the next bag. That's it. That's all they want. And I found that very alarming that in an interview, Suleiman did not respect the order of things. He said, that's a gray area. We really never... You mean to tell me from a 2-belt era to a 3-belt era to a 4-belt era, Mauricio Suleiman, you've never had this problem? You've never had to address this? You're a fucking liar, bro. And you're not a very good liar. You try to come on the Boxing Voice and tell the boxing world that that's a gray area and you do whatever the hell you want. The WBC is so powerful that on the night their belt is not even on the line, they get involved. They put their nose in business they don't belong in. For example, right? For example, when Teofimo Lopez fought Vasily, the WBC world title was not on the line. Why? Who had the WBC title the day Vasily entered the ring with Teo? Devin Haney. He had the WBC, right? He fought Linares, right? And then he defended, right? He had to fight George Camboose in the end for all 4 belts. George had 3. What did Devin Haney have? The WBC. Then they fought to unify, right? Okay. So on the night that Teo and Loma went in the ring, they're so fucking powerful. After the fight, the winner, remember we were in the corona epidemic? Teo didn't have 1. That motherfucker had 2. WBC green world titles. That's the green one. This one over here. It's that one, right? He didn't have 1. He had 2. I dare you, go back and look at Teo on the stage like this. After he beat Vasily, he was like this. He had 2 green belts. Where the fuck did those belts come from? If the WBC world title wasn't even in attendance, there was no WBC world title on the line. None of the boxers came in the ring with a WBC world title. Vasily just vacated his to Devin. In the franchise, you can't win. by definition of the rules. So how the hell did Tio end up with 2? That's how powerful they are. They'll interrupt your night. How powerful are they, the WBC? When Gervonta Tank Davis, who was it he fought? Frank the Ghost Martin? Isn't that belt the WBA? Does Tank have a WBC World Championship? Anyone? Does he have a WBC World Championship? How the fuck did the WBC enter their night in Las Vegas? They made like a freedom belt. You guys saw it? It's like freedom, like to commemorate the movement. I think it was during Black History Month. They had like chains on it and shit. The belt said what? Did it say WBA? No. It said WBC on it. But the WBC is not involved tonight. This title fight is for the WBA against Frank the Ghost Martin and Gervonta Tank Davis. How the hell is the WBC in the building? You guys better pay attention. Yo, they are powerful. And Suleiman, that shit's getting to his head, bro. It really is. Like, he's not respecting nothing, bro. Suleiman. He was getting frustrated in the interview, man. You saw it? How does Foster and Navarrete play out? That's a dangerous fight, man. He wants me to talk about it. I wanted to talk about it, right? All right. I like Foster's reach and everything. Here's the problem with everything. Every single time I betted against Navarrete, he won. Every time I thought the boxer was gonna come in and beat Navarrete, he didn't. When all the Mexicans on that night against Oscar Valdez, they went against Navarrete. They made that Mexican jacket. They should have sized it up for Navarrete. Yo, he beats them all the boxers. I like Shakur Foster. I don't like how he leaves fighters around too long. I think he's real skilled in that division. I think for the most part, he's like out fighting his opponent. I don't think he doesn't sit down in his punches and stay in the pocket long enough to create real damage. Navarrete is a scary fighter and a real difficult fighter to prepare for. Why? Navarrete doesn't have a game plan. He never does. What Navarrete does is he kind of lets nature take its course. He just, not whatever you give him, he takes. Well, however the fight is going, that's how Navarrete's fighting. He kind of fights off instinct a little bit, not a real big game planner. He goes out there, you throw, he knows how to slip certain punches. He's got a pretty decent chin. And Navarrete's big for the weight class. He's really big for that weight class. He has wide back, shoulders and everything. And he punches extremely hard because he's a big dude. He blows up pretty good. O'Shaughnessy Foster, you know, I like his movement. I like the jab. I like the 1-2. Like I say, he doesn't have that inside game where he can hurt you. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say when he let that fight slip away from him and lost his belt, because O'Shaughnessy Foster won every round, if you ask me, against Conceição. That was just a straight robbery. The second fight was way better than the first fight, and Conceição fought a lot better. The fight was a lot closer in the second fight with O'Shaughnessy Foster than that first one. That first one, I felt it was just a one-sided fight. I don't know how Conceição won that fight. That's the corruption in boxing, I would say. Right? I'm sorry, boxing, but that judging, that was hellacious. Horrible, right? For some strange reason, I think Navarrete's gonna stop him. Foster. It's his awkward style. It's hard to get a beat on that. When Foster is a more counter rhythm fighter, where that he relies on you throwing punches the right way. Navarrete's a bit of a wild man. I don't know if he'll get Navarrete's timing. Navarrete's there to be hit though. He doesn't really move his head a lot. He invites the war. And when a Mexican opens the door for you to come in, you better be ready. You better be Mexican ready. Okay? Because Navarrete's ready to bang. And he's going to give one and take one. I'm not sure if O'Shaughnessy Foster can do that. O'Shaughnessy Foster is going to want to stay on the outside and keep Navarrete at the end of his punches. And I don't think Navarrete's going to allow that. And you saw when you put two wild guys together in the ring, Navarrete didn't look too good because both of them were wild. What makes Navarrete a better fighter is that you know how to box. One of you got to know how to fight really well. Navarrete's just a warrior. He's just a hard-punching, pressure, brawler, puncher type fighter. It's what Navarrete truly is. O'Shaughnessy Foster got a bit more style to him. He's a bit more of a boxer. He tries to counter more. He's a little laxy-daisy, though, when it comes to pressure, I feel. He could be a better fighter if he pushes his punches together a bit better. Sit on his punches a little bit more. That's what he should have did in that Cosiao fight. I feel like when he thinks like he's up in the card, he tries to coast and not really give the fans that, you know what I mean? Where Navarrete, he's trying to take your head off the entire fight. So if O'Shaughnessy Foster, I think, will have good success in the first half, and I think Navarrete's gas tank and pressure will start to catch up to him in the laters, and that's when I think Navarrete's going to have real success against O'Shaughnessy Foster. I think he hits it hard enough throughout the rounds where he'll start to bludgeon O'Shaughnessy Foster, and he's probably going to put him away, put him down. It's not going to be like a one-punch knockout type thing. It's going to be accumulation of rounds and being battered, and I think O'Shaughnessy Foster might go down, but there's a flip side to that coin where I see that there is a situation where if O'Shaughnessy Foster stays on the balls of his feet and he really hurts Navarrete, you're going to have to, like between rounds, like hurt him in those rounds. Make him stop. Make him give you false pressure. Check that pressure tank, right? Meaning, when a guy is hurt and he's a pressure fighter and you hurt him, he's typically going to try to disguise it and still try to pressure you. But he's not going to have the ability to swing on you with any good, hard, conviction because he's hurt. What he's trying to do is bluff the pressure, right? You just hurt him. Boom, right? Then he's like, right? But he's trying to give you pressure, right? Test that. Just when he's coming in, see if it's fake. Bah, right? He doesn't open up. Okay. Either, it could be a multiple ways, the way I'm seeing it in my head versus the way you're seeing it. But there's a few things that can transpire there. You can peel his gloves away from his face and try to hit him. Or you can punch in his guard, let him step around and check hook him, right? Either to the body or to the head. Whatever two is open. You got to determine that in the moment. But if you really hurt him and he's still trying to put that pressure, because what he's trying to do is wear you down. What he's trying to do is keep you going backwards. Going backwards by itself in a fight will drain you. You don't have to throw one punch. Just the thought of this guy pressuring you and you going backwards all night, you're gonna drain yourself. You're gonna fatigue yourself. So when a pressure guy does that, Sometimes it's good to check the pressure and not allow him to keep pushing you back. Bump into him, see if he's open, check that body, bump him back, and start putting your pressure forward. If he takes a step backwards, you hurt him. You hurt him. And now you're checking it. You're like, oh shit, that pressure is fake. He doesn't have that same pressure when in the beginning, when he was coming in and he was throwing them punches at you and you had to evade him and go backwards. In that sequence, if you hurt him and he's like, oh, and he's still trying to go forward, push him back, hit him again. If he just steps back, oh shit, nah, I just hurt you. You know, so those are some of the things, you know, in that fight that I would have to be checking out. What's up, guys? You need Foster to win or not? Listen, every time I bet against Navarrete, the motherfucker wins. That's why I can't. I would want to take Foster. I wanted Valdez. I'll take all the boxers against Navarrete. But man, is he proving me wrong? Is he proving me wrong? And I'm like, every time I do a breakdown on the man, I'm like, how did he become a world champion with those skills, Navarrete? It goes to show you, man, there's no measuring stick for a man's will and heart. I don't have any measuring stick to that. Navarrete looked like he was willing to die in there. No retreat, no surrender type fighter. It outperforms skilled. But I'm just waiting until you get that right, skilled, dedicated boxer to beat the brakes off Navarrete. He just hasn't been in with a guy that can sustain that for 12 rounds and that his cardio is up to par. You know, Shakur Foster definitely can be the guy. He has the size, he has the reach, he has the skills. You should pick Shakur Foster in that fight. 100%, bro. But I'm telling you, man, every single time I bet against this man rises up and just shows me. Every fucking time now, I've already shows me. There's no measuring stick to a man's will. Somehow he outsmarts, outmaneuvers all these skilled boxers. I just need a strong, skilled boxer to beat him. That's it. That's it. But Navarrete is a puzzle, bro. He's an anomaly. That motherfucker don't got no kind of game plan. Zero, bro. He just legitimately, he's just doing whatever happens in the fight, however the fight, that's how he fights. He got no game plan, bro. It's hard to prepare for a wild man like that. It's hard, and he's confident. Navarrete is confident in his ability. He understands himself as a fighter. You're gonna have to beat him. You're gonna have to take that belt from him. Trust me. At 122, he won his first title at 122, 126, and 130. He's a 3-division world champion, Navarrete. He has 3 divisions. He's to be respected. He's going to be a Hall of Famer. 3 divisions, that'll get you in the Hall of Fame. Yeah, just maybe. Yeah. Sometimes I've seen some situations that didn't get in, but I understood them after I read them. I think Navarrete's done enough. Shakur Foster, Navarrete share the ring. When they look back in their career, they can honestly say, hey, who'd you share the ring with? It's right here. Right here. Just like that conversation that Bill Haney had with Gabriel Rosario. He really thought he was going to shit on Gabriel Rosario because Gabriel Rosario never became a world champion. Just because his son was like the youngest undisputed champion in the world, Devin Haney, right? He thought he could shit on Gabriel Rosario. And boy, did the boxing world let him have it. Gabriel Rosario can honestly say Maybe he's never became a world champion. In today's era, these kids are, and I'm just gonna come out and say it. Most of these boxers are pussies. They want to protect the O when they're protecting the wrong thing. What Mayweather started. Oh, retire undefeated. Well said from a guy that fought the most world champions. Seems like he got you guys all thinking belts don't matter. Heh, well said from a man that's trying to protect his world championship record. Yeah, belts don't matter. Don't go after belts. Don't beat my record. I want you guys to all think that belts don't matter and that the O is the most important. When retiring undefeated, there's no award for that. You don't go to the Hall of Fame for retiring 50 and 0. That's a personal thing. 50 and 0, okay, that's for you. This where does it 30 and 0, 20 and 0? That's just your boxing record. That's for you to brag about. That's no boxing statistic. You're not getting an award for that. Fighting 26 world champions, you'll get an award for that. Fighting in 5 divisions, you get an award for that. You get recognition for that in the Hall of Fame. Having 27 titles, those are the type of things you get awards for. And Mayweather got the boxing world fucked up. He's a genius. By time Tank Davis snapped out of it and was like, wait a minute, belts do matter. It's too late. You're 30 years old. You'll never catch Mayweather. Never. He done set you up thinking that protecting the O is the most important thing. What happened when Devin Haney's father tried to go at Gabriel Rosario that's lost 17 times? It's not about the O, is it? When are we going to go back in the era where it's more important with the men that you shared the ring with? Our 4 horsemen, Marvelous Hagler, Sugar Ray Leonard, Roberto Duran, all the Hitman Hearns, all those guys, right, fought each other. They all got losses and wins over each other. When you go back and look at their resume, it ain't nothing but Hall of Fame fighters, world champions, top-notch opposition. When you go to the Hall of Fame, you can say, I shared the ring with this guy. Win, lose, or draw. George Foreman can share, God rest his soul, can say he shared the ring with Ali. Ali can say the same. Ali can say he shared the ring with Frazier, Ken Norton Jr. The list goes on. They all fought each other. Who can Tank Davis in today say he fought? Who can these kids today say, hey, I fought so-and-so. I fought this guy. He was a world champion. He's a Hall of Famer. This guy right here. These guys want to protect this old shit like retiring undefeated is the most accomplished thing in all of boxing. Wow, Mayweather really got these kids' mind messed up. Gabriel Rosario, when he whipped out his resume of all the fighters he was on the list, brother, that resume is a legendary fucking Hall of Fame resume. Gabriel Rosario's resume? Oh my God, bro. That man fought everybody and they mama, from Triple G to you name it. He might have not won every fight, but you can't that man's a warrior, a straight gladiator. I looked at his record, I was impressed. No, I was impressed. That record is better than those 4 belts Devin Haney has. It might not be in real life, right? Like the 4 belts are, of course, better, right? But when it comes to honor, battles, warrior type shit, that's where it beats the 4 belts. Who did you fight for those 4 belts? A fax machine and George Camboza. Fuck out of here with that bullshit. My man got a resume of fucking gladiators and warriors on his record. There was no way the real boxing world was going to let that slide, and they didn't. Boy, they came to the defense to Gabriel, man. They really did. Let me read you guys this shit. What's up, my man? Do I think Road Chuck can beat? No. Emmanuel Rodriguez or Emmanuel Navarrete? Emmanuel Rodriguez is not as in weight class. It has to be Emmanuel Navarrete, yeah. Do I think Rocha can beat him? No. Rocha is on the line of fighter like Oscar Valdez. Probably the same height. Same thing. If Oscar Valdez couldn't beat Navarrete, I don't think Rocha does. See, here's the problem with that Rocha situation and Tank Davis situation that I've been trying to tell the world. Sometimes we need fighters to come and talk about these situations, such as myself. I've been in a couple fights myself, and in and out of a boxing ring, right? But you need fighters to really address this. And sometimes I respect all these guys' opinions on YouTube, content creators. I get what they're doing, you know what I'm saying? It's cool. But sometimes you gotta hear it from a fighter. In that situation with Lamont Roach and Tank Davis, what you guys don't know as a fighter is that Lamont Roach knew things about Tank Davis no other fighter knows. Meaning he was his sparring partner on numerous occasions. Lamont Roach looked like that against Tank Davis because he had weeks and months of sparring with him. He knows Gervonta Davis's mannerisms, his little feints, his little things. And what they tried to do was get Tank Davis a different coach because Calvin Ford was coaching him during that time when Lamont Roach was training him. What they were trying to do was change Tank Davis so that way Lamont Roach didn't have a beat on him, didn't have his timing. That's why they went with a different coach. And a lot of people were speculating and saying, oh, Tank and Calvin Ford is splitting up. No. He was trying to get another guy to change what Lamont Roach was used to. You guys are going to get Lamont Roach fucked up because all of a sudden that performance Lamont Roach did at Davis is giving you the impression he can fuck with the top guys. And I'm here to tell you, that's not so. If you think Lamont Roach can fight Shakur or Keyshawn Davis or any of these guys just because he fought Tank Davis like that, Lamont Roach is going to get stopped. Lamont Roach wasn't this big-time puncher or great fighter at 130. What you mean? He stopped the guy that Tank Davis made go blind in the ring, Hector Luis Garcia? Didn't Tank Davis punch that man in the head and he went blind in the ring? Right? I'm trying to tell you. Why do you think Jermaine Ortiz looked that good against Vasily? Jermaine Ortiz was Vasily's sparring partner for 3 years. That's why it was so hard. And Vasily looked like shit in that fight. Then all of a sudden, he looked great against Devin. Because Devin didn't know nothing on him, and he didn't know nothing on him. Type shit. They had to feel each other out on a feel-out round. They had to find each other's timing. They had to find their placement. With Lamont Roach and Tank, Lamont went right to work. He knew exactly where to be, how to do it. That's why he was so successful with Tank. And then Tank's punk ass, right? I don't mean to call him a punk or nothing because he ain't, right? But he pissed me off because Tank fucked up when he got out of the ring. And he said that shit about the chemicals in his eye with the braid and he blamed it on the girl, right? Tank, that shit did happen. Yes, something went in your eye, right? But Tank, you weren't smart enough to figure it out. And I get it. If you've never been in this kind of situation in gym, you might not know how he got there. But since I'm a fighter and I've seen shit like this happen in the gyms, I can tell you honestly what happened, what really happened in the Lamont Roach Tank situation. Fucking grease scandal. This is what actually happened. Tank got out. They said you took the knee. The reporters in his face. He said the girl just did my braids like 2 days ago, and the braid snapped in my eye, and I got some of the chemical in my eye. That's what he said. Lo and behold, that's not what happened. Right? It's what happened. It's not what happened. Check it out. Where the where the grease came from was from Tank Davis. What happened in the fight was this. That girl braided your hair 2 weeks ago, Tank. Or they could have put some chemicals in your head 2 days ago. Guess what? That shit is dried the fuck up. Even if you was to wet it, the alcohols and everything in the chemicals are dried. You can't re-wet it to get it out base. What happened was, when you guys were boxing, and as the rounds were going on and the sweat and everything was busting out, and they were putting Vaseline on your face. It didn't come from your face, it came from Lamont Roach's face. When the corner put Vaseline on Lamont Roach and Tank Davis punched him, the Vaseline goes on his glove. When he puts the glove back to his face and presses it against his braids, and Lamont Roach throws a punch, it drips and mixes in with the braid. Throughout rounds, the Vaseline, it's slippery, it's in there. The reason why I know it's Vaseline, when he threw the jab, the braid snapped into his eye. He felt that in his eye. What is the one thing in boxing that can get in your eye, that can bother your eye, but with one wipe, it's clean? Vaseline. Had it been chemicals, like a hair product, it would have burned his eye and his eye would have been red. Because the chemicals would burn your eye. But the Vaseline won't. That's why we use it. Because if Vaseline gets in your eye, you ain't nothing but a wipe away from being okay. What happened when Calvin Ford wiped Tank Davis's face one time? The eye never bothered him again. Which I know that was Vaseline in his eye. When the braid snapped back, the Vaseline off the gloves and off the face, which went into the rubber band, popped in his eye. It's happened in the gym I box in. I see dudes in there with long braids. This has happened to us. That's why I knew it. I was like, but Gervonta, this has never happened to him. He didn't know where it came from. So once he said that out his mouth, he was held to it. He couldn't take it back. He didn't, because see, Gervonta knew something really did get in his eye. Was he that arrogant that he thought he could stop the action? Yes. Gervonta's head in boxing, he thinks he's this big. He legitimately thought he could take a knee and not get fouled for it. Did he legitimately do that? Think that? Or did he do that? He got away with it. Gervonta Davis got away with that shit. That's how powerful he is. And I don't think you got to pay the referee, Stephen Willis, right? I don't think you got to pay Stephen Willis, right? I think he's just a fan of Tank. I think he's a brother, loves boxing, obviously. He's a fucking referee. I don't think you had to pay him, right? Because that would have been stupid. Like, say, like, I'm a gangster and a promoter in boxing, and I got some real, like, type influence. I'm paying judges or whatever. In a Gervonta Tank Davis fight, you don't pay a ref. We don't never go to the scorecards. When's the last time we went to the scorecard on it? Why do I need the ref involved? For Lamont Roach, that nobody and their mama thought was going to win. That was a 20-1 underdog type shit. The fuck I got to pay the ref for? I think the ref was just a fan of Tank's. I think he did it to his discretion. The ref got power in that ring. It's up to his discretion. And then you mean to tell me that the PBC puts together an event and the one piece of equipment we implemented in the sport of boxing, you guys didn't have connected? Instant replay? Is that what you're saying? What kind of Mickey Mouse operation are you guys running down there in the PBC? That the one thing that was put in place to protect the fighters, you're saying the system was down? Not, or did you guys not pay the money for the system to be, because you guys got to, yo, PBC, the hell is this? It, man, what's up, Jonathan? I just got my hair done 2 days ago. 2 days ago. I just got my hair done 2 days ago. Yo, that poor lady, bro. They rolled up on her, I heard. You saw that shit on social media. They went to like the shop where he got his shit. She was like, I did them shits 2 weeks ago. Like, Tank's lying. Tank just didn't know where it came from. The grease. He just didn't know where it came from. That's all. But I got brothers coming up in the gym. They got braids. Puerto Rican kids got braids. This is happening in the gym. It's happened. Yeah. And that's how I was like, Tank, that's not no chemicals from your hair, bro. That's from the fucking glove. From your glove, in fact. The grease, the Vaseline that's coming off your glove because you keep punching him. They put Vaseline on his face every round. When you snap, that's why we take the towels and we wipe the boxer's gloves so we can take the Vaseline off his gloves so his punch doesn't slip, so he can connect a little better. But in between rounds, while you mixing it up, if Tank's like this, he's putting it on that little rubber band knot on the end of the braid. It's piling up there. When it snapped, right in the eye, grease in the eye. It just didn't come from the chemicals from your hair, brother. That's all. That's all. But I'm not here to argue whether or not what was the injustice about you guys. You guys are not stupid. Come on, man. You guys are boxing fans. You guys probably know more about boxing than I do. You guys know that that was wrong. But what's being written down? And, you know, if they're going to shoot the rematch back, then I'm with it. I'm with it. I'm with it. But let's just remember, this was a fight none of us wanted. Gervonta Davis did this to him. This is his problem. This is his mess. This situation got messy. Now you want someone else to clean up Gervonta Davis's mess? You want Shakur Stevenson to fight Lamont Roach. You want Keyshawn Davis. Why? Why should they clean up what Tank Davis did? Brother, you need to go handle your own business. Around here, we put in our own work. I don't know where the fuck you from, but we from the show me state. And we're not gonna start talking up somebody else to go handle your messy situation, Tank. I know you from Baltimore, baby. I know they get down there. Don't tell me in Baltimore you guys just slither out of... No. Y'all real ones, right? Handle your motherfucking business. That's it. Stop trying to like, oh, Shakur, Keith, nah. Tank, go clean this shit up. Take care of this. Get that out the way. And can we get back to our regularly scheduled program at the 135? Because before this Lamont shit, there was a line of people that you were supposed to fight. Loma, Shakur, Keyshawn now. You already had beef. And now what is this? What is this? We supposed to accept this? Again, a fight we never wanted to in the first place. Although entertaining, and we got some odds and news out of it, not the fight we want to watch. Now, is it? It's not the fight we want. We want Loma with Tank. We want Loma with Shakur. I want Loma with Keyshawn now. Now those are the fights. But yet, here we are. Got to do this Lamont Road shit because you did this. Let's see. PBC Some people give him a year. I heard that 20 years ago. They're they've been at the position like this, PBC, so many different times. But I truly believe that PBC's head guys are a bunch of old men that don't like change. And you ever hear like your grandfather or something when you were like younger? Oh, you this generation, y'all a bunch of pansies, right? Back in my day, right? When we used to play, the football was wood. All right? We didn't have no shoulder pads. Okay? I used your mother's girdle, all right, to get out there and run around. It's always some tall tale of how their sport was so much better. I remember having a conversation with one of my relatives. I don't need to say his name. One of my relatives about football and how back in the days in the 80s and early 90s, football was like, but now it's a bunch of pansies and might as well be playing with pillows and you can't even touch the quarterback. And I looked at him and I said, you ever like Joe Montana and Dan Marino? He goes, yeah, those were my favorite. And I said to him, how many quarterbacks have ever came in your era in your league, got clothesline, slam, suplex on the ground, and their longevity was only 3 or 4 years? They got so many injuries. Now the franchise has to go out and get quarterbacks. What football realized was these kind of quarterbacks are not a dime a dozen. First, you got to get a guy that can throw a ball 70, 80 yards. Then you got to get a guy that can throw it to a moving target and be accurate with it. Then you got to get a guy that can do it under pressure. It's okay, you could do that in practice, but can you do that in game situations? So they started realizing that finding these quarterbacks were hard enough, but putting them in a game where that you're beating the other team by 34 points and they send out that one crash dummy just to take out your quarterback, teams were doing that all the time. There had to be change. It had to evolve the sport. So they set all these rules, and instead of seeing Tom Brady for 6 years, I got to see him for 20. How isn't that better? It's just like them old dudes don't see the benefit in the longevity. They don't want to change with the sport for whatever situation they are. Some of these dudes in the PBC, they look like these old guys that they were used to having everything their way, calling their shots. They don't like change. They don't like Turki Al-Alshikh. Did any of you guys see that interview with homeboy from Pro Box, Paulie Malignaggi? And he was just telling Turki Al-Alshikh's story. He's like, Turki's a tyrant. He had this dude signing this thing, or we gonna do this to your family type shit. And I was like, well, welcome to boxing, Turki, because a bunch of gangsters in here, right? So where can you be like you? I think about that, right? I think about Turki's situation, and I say to myself, the reason why they call Turki Al-Alshikh like the prince or whatever and shit like that, because he's a part of the prince, meaning whenever he steps out from that castle or whatever they live in, right? And he steps out into the world, he speaks for the prince. So if you're talking to him, you might not be talking to the prince directly, but watch your mouth, because you are in a way. He's like, he speaks for the prince, and everything he does is for the prince, right? Okay, so they made him the head of entertainment in Saudi. So let me think about this for a second. Turki Al-Alshikh, you're not blood related to the prince. You're not blood related to him. That's a lie. Um, how the fuck did you, from the desert, get next to the prince and be awarded that kind of job? Which made me think of his lifestyle. What was Turki doing when he was a teenager? He's probably in some malicious group out there, some rebel army. Grew up in bullet gunfights. Made his way up the ranks. Why does the prince hold you in such regards? Who the fuck really are you, Turki? That dude's gotta be a serious dude. He probably held some people over a few balconies. He probably ordered a lot of stuff to be done. If the prince has that much confidence in you, right? You held that position in that job and you're like pissing away all this money, so to speak, but you still got a job. Makes me think Turki was somebody before he went to. You understand? They're raised much different than us. A lot different. And out there, if there's 2 apple trees and a fucking puddle of water and 90 miles of sand, and my kids gotta eat tonight, we fighting over that apple tree and that puddle of water. You better believe it. It's either me or you, baby, right? And Turki's, I don't want to call him outside of his name. I know very little of him. I can only speculate. But you don't get to that point in your life because you haven't put in some shit. In Turki, you're not the sharpest knife in the drawer. There are way more people more qualified, smarter than that man that had real school, that were put through schools. And Turki might have been a lot of things and might have been in schools and well educated. I believe he's well educated, but you don't really got to be that smart in that position. You got enough money to hire smart people around you. You don't really need to be smart. I got enough money to hire 20 fucking Harvard graduate students and make them stand right there. All of you, spitball your ideas at me. We're talking about a trillionaire that's backing this man. His money is endless. You don't gotta be smart. You just gotta be ruthless. You gotta be able to come in and get the job done, no matter what the cost. Sometimes you gotta tread lightly because there are rules and laws you can't, you know what I'm saying? One day get invited out there to that Riyadh season, fly out there, but unbeknownst, you and your guest are not leaving. We gotta talk. That'd be scary, right? So, Turki, like, yeah, Turki, like, he's an interesting cat. I advise you guys to go check out that interview with Paulie Malignaggi. Go check that out, right? He said a lot of shit. He read off the article from what the reporter had read off from Turk, and the way Turk had that man pressured in the room. Some real tiring type shit. Once you fly out there, they have different rules and laws and stuff. Ironically, I guess I learned this later when Floyd was hemmed up out there, that they try to say that was all a lie and Floyd was never out there, which I say it's bullshit, right? Floyd was caught up out there, right? So, a lot of people want to argue that, oh, that was made up. Floyd was never out. Okay, think that if you want to. No, he was out there. And one of the things that they mostly frowned on, if we do business and I gave you money or something and you skate out and we catch you again, that's like really serious. Like the disrespect for you to think that you can get over on me. Like out there, they don't like no swindle shit, no 3-card Molly. Nah, flip all the cards over and I'll tell you if I want to play the game type shit. They like everything on the up and up, to be honest. I guess they're type of type of people that have been so much bloodshed that they're cutting dry. It's either yes, no, or bullets. How you want it? They've been trying to debate parts of their land, negotiate, have empathy for centuries. How many of their guys have spoke up and no, let's talk about this? Peace talking never fucking works for them because the sand is never gonna go away. Unless you can get more palm trees, more water, then we won't fight because we'll have enough. But as long as the resources out there are limited, there's nothing to talk about, bro. I got a family to feed. What you mean? You're going to give us some of the apples? No. Talk about they're going to take the majority. You know what I'm saying? That's the problem. They're not going to leave the land neither because, according to them, those lands are holy. It's where like Jesus or whatever, or they got that rock. I don't know nothing about I don't want to offend nobody and I don't want to say anything wrong. I'm not about that. I'm not about talking about religion, politics. I don't know nothing about none of that shit. I know about war. Fighting. The reason for fightings and what'll make a man get up off a table when he told you, shut your mouth, bro. All right. I'll talk about that part. What I do know in life, when any time a person will share with you, is because they have an abundance. They have a lot. Sometimes the poorest of men would give you the shirt off their back. They don't got another shirt to wear. But it's nothing for them to give you the shirt off his back when he's already been accustomed of having nothing. When you are rock bottom and you got nothing, well, giving away your last really won't mean nothing to you because you don't have anything. And sometimes people are generous because they have an abundance. I'll show you what that person really is and what they are like when they don't have enough, even for themselves. Then come ask him for a cup of water. See if he gives it to you. If he gives it to you, he has a different type of soul. He's built different. But the majority of the people, at the end of the day, it's preservation of life. It's you first. If I only got this, and we in the hot desert sun, and we don't know when the next time somebody gonna pop up, no, you can't get a sip. No. Why you looking at my cup like that? Huh? Let's go. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? That's what's gonna happen next. So, that's how the world is, man. Yeah, guys, man. Listen. You know, it's just new players in the game in boxing. The WBC, Suleiman, he welcomes it. He's not afraid. He shouldn't be. It's got like the most prestigious belt in all of boxing right now. They on top. And some of these fights, some of these big fights that are being made, I want to see this Jaron Boots Ennis versus Stanionis. I think that there's gonna be a a real high food. All right, let everybody eat. I'll eat in a minute. I'll eat in a minute. Go ahead, serve with me. Love you. I gotta eat in a second, guys. um, yeah. So like, yeah, she always whenever she like sits down and cooks a meal, she always wants to do the family thing. Everybody got to sit together because she cooked. You know what I mean? When we order out, we can go our separate ways. One kid, my daughter be eating in the living room. I'll be in the kitchen. She'll be upstairs. But whenever she cooks, we got to sit down and eat like a family. But I like it because it makes our family more unified. And sometimes at those moments, I check in with my daughter, what she's doing. We talk. We try not to talk with our mouth full. So it's but it's the time that we checking in on each other. So she likes when we eat together and stuff. It's something that we're trying to put together for our family's sake. Stop letting our children always eat away from us and keeping them in adult conversations. I remember when I was younger, and I were speaking, what the fuck are you doing? Get your little ass in there. Don't talk in adult conversation and don't repeat adult things. They would send us. Nowadays, the adults are talking with the kids right next to them, sitting next to them. And they wonder why kids go to school and say shit. My dad said that your mom's a hoe and blah, blah, blah. And like, you know what I mean? And, let the kid be a kid. You know what I'm saying? So, trying to do our small part in the world of changing our kids. Like I said to my daughter, stop making your friend your best friend some girl on the internet that lives in California. You need to get outside and meet the girl that actually lives in the building next to you so that she can be your best friend. Something in the world happens and all our friends are all over social media way out there and I don't know my neighbor. I'm going to come outside. I'm going to be more scared of him and him of me. And we live in the same neighborhood. It's crazy how the world tries to have you divided on social media, right? It's fucking outrageous. But, yeah, that's, you know what I'm saying? I don't know how. Oh, yeah, she wanted me to eat. I was like, how did I get here? Yeah, it's just. What's up, Warlock? How you doing? Salute, brother. What's up? Stop mentioning MAA. That's what it says. Jonathan. I try use if you see me doing this, that's me trying to figure out what the words. If they were small on the computer, they're small here. I gotta get some glasses. I've been fighting it for a few years. I just don't. I've never wore glasses in my life. And like I wear my sunglasses because, well, that's jewelry. You know what I'm saying? It's different. And you put on the Cardis, man. They're not prescription glasses. The Cardis. I wear these because they're gold. They're jewelry. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, I guess if I could get them, but Cardis told me that they don't make prescription lenses. What I would have to do is get my eye doctor the lens prescription and send them to the Cardi store. That's what the lady, when I went there and I talked to her, first I had to set it in. I had to make an appointment to go to their store to buy these. And she was like, if you ever see Cardis and they got the clear frames, they're fake. Cardis don't make prescription glasses. You would have to like get your, and what she meant by fake is even if you were, let's say, take these frames, because the Cardi glasses, their quality is based on their glasses. The They're handmade, right? So the quality in the lens is what makes the glasses so popular. It's the thing. So if you were to take, I was to take these off, it would lower the value of the Cardis. So even if I was to take these and put prescription frames in it, it would lower the value of it. It would be like putting a spoiler on a Mercedes. That's what she told me. It would be like putting a spoiler on a Mercedes. Because now you altered the Cardis. So even if you got your eyeglass too. So now what the Cardis started doing it, because a lot of celebrities, like rappers and shit, wanted to put like the clear frames, but you wouldn't get the Cardi name. Because that's embedded into the Cardi way. So she said they're starting to like try to do it where that you can get the clear one with prescription with the Cardi name in it. That way it doesn't, it's still the quality of the glass. Getting some bullshit fucking glass in your Cardi frame, you just fucked up them Cardis. You basically bootlegged them. That's like taking a Rolex watch and you cracking the glass and thinking you can go to like a watch, any watch glass place, so they can put glass in it. When you go to sell the watch, they're going to tell you that's not Rolex glass. And the value of your Rolex went dramatically down. Like dramatically, thousands for putting that fake ass glass on it. It's not Rolex glass. They can tell. They can tell the difference. A lot of people smash the Rolex glass and they go try to do that, or you try to change the bezel or the links in it. Now your Rolex is shit. It's not original. It's, you fucked that Rolex up. Yeah, you might have fixed it to look good, but the value, that's the same thing with the Cardis. The way she explained it to me. When I go there and because I've bought, that's my second right now. That's my second pair. That's the first one I bought in that store. But that's my second pair of Cardis. The first one, I think I lost them. So, yeah. So, fight fans, I want to go eat. But I already see it's 6:47, and I'm probably not going to go on tonight. So I'm just going to do this video right here. Because going on tonight again at 9, what, I'm going to just do 2 lives within 2 hours. That'll probably be like, so fight fans, listen, leave it in your comments. Let me know what you guys think about a lot of these situations. If I get enough comments tonight when I go check, I'll probably hop back on, or I'll see you guys tomorrow. I'll see you guys in the morning tomorrow. I'm going to go on in the morning around between 9:30 and 10 o'clock. So I'll see you guys in the morning. And then I'll do it like that so that I can get an episode at night for my night owls. I got a lot of people that like to come on at night too. And I got guys that want to come on in the daytime. So I try to like break it up for you guys so that we can talk boxing and everything. But it's always been my pleasure. Thank you for all the support. Thank you for all your comments, even the negative comments. Because we have to have an understand. Well, I have an understanding that I can have a conversation with a person. If you want to get hostile, we can get hostile. If you want to debate, we can debate. But if you want to have a conversation, we can have a conversation. You know what I'm saying? And I'll always value your opinion. Just because I might not like what you're saying doesn't mean that I always have to debate what you're saying. Okay? Meaning, that's taking someone's opinion and taking what they feel like their favorite fighter is. You have to respect that. Why am I trying to change you from supporting the fighter you chose to support? Now that would be me trying to change your mind now, wouldn't it? I would encourage you to support your fighter. I would encourage you to back up your fighter. Why? because you're backing up the sport of boxing and you're supporting the sport I love. Soul Fight fans, I'm on to the next one after this one. Give these videos a like, share the videos if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to click that bell notification icon. It's going to alert you to when I go on live. Soul Fight family, thank you for your time. Don't forget to hit that like. And like always, peace. I haven't been on live so long on like the phone. I legitimately don't even know how to turn it off. There it is.